Hey guys, welcome to another speed build. First of all, I would like to say thank you. You have all shown me so much love and I've gained new subscribers and so many nice comments and likes and it really means a lot to me and I would like to say thank you. And you gave me so much love and I'm giving you vampires or at least a mention for vampires. Here you see how I'm building the shape. I decided to build it on a big room, which is the foundation basically. It's going to be fully furnished at the bottom, but I wanted the main part of the house to stand out a little and I wanted it to look like as if it's on a mountain in a way, but I'm not going to use rocks at the side, so it's not exactly a mountain as you will see later. I decided to create a bright color on the outside. I did not want it to be very black or gray, which would be quite typical for a vampire build, I guess. But I kind of like to go with a lighter theme and simply combine it with some dark gray and black for the roof, for example. Here I decided to go with a dark gray. Later on, as you will see, I'm going to change it to black to have a harsh contrast between the facade and the roofing. I went with a rounder shape for the roof. I just felt it would fit to the whole castle theme in a way. And here I'm using the dormer that came with the vampire pack. Usually you would integrate this into a roof, but I simply sized it up and put it on top of the roof. I thought that it would stand out and just make it a little bit more special. It's also hiding the front of the roofing. This part was a little bit tricky because it's round and I wanted to make it look like one piece of roofing and the dome is hiding it a little bit. Now I'm adding some of the flowers that came with the Jungle Adventure pack. I really love these and I have already used them in previous builds. The reason I used them was because I wanted to have a contrast. As I said at the beginning, I'm using a lot of light colors and darker colors, and this is just gives it a bit of a vibrant color and makes it look special. I also thought because of the whole vampire blood theme that red would be a really good idea to go with. Here I'm shaping the bottom part. Here I'm building the second building that is next to the main building on the right side. As you will see later, I'm going to add a media room and a gaming room. And here I'm building two bridges because the building itself is completely enclosed by water. And your Sims can use the bridge to access it. I decided to go with the same roofing as for the main house, same color, same shape. I did not want it to be square and simple, so I went with a little different shape. I'm struggling to find a door that fits. And yeah, this build was so much fun. I really love vampires and anything like horror movies and stuff like this, and we had a very bad heat wave here, and it's still summer. But after the heat wave was over, I don't know, it already felt like autumn in a way, and it's my favorite season, and I love Halloween so much. I'm already looking forward to Halloween. So I felt a little inspired. I did not want to make a Halloween build as it's way too early, but I mean, vampires are always interesting, and it's a cool addition to the game. I know that many people love the supernatural stuff, and it's cool that we already got vampires. And I'm really excited what's to come and if we get witches or fairies or werewolves, I don't know. Personally, for me, vampires and witches were always my favorites. Fairies would be quite cool as well, but in The Sims 3, I did not like that you could always see their rings, because for me, I like to play the game quite realistic, I would say, and when I'm playing with supernatural beings, I just like them to be undercover. basically the way that you would see it in TV shows or movies, or I don't know, let's say Charmed, where they were hiding their identity, or I don't know, Twilight, True Blood, Vampire Diaries, all that kind of stuff. Um, Personally, I love True Blood, my all-time favorite. I kind of love that they did not approach it in the typical teenager high school romance way. I mean, they did, not going to spoil anything, but it's pretty cliche, but I felt like it was more for grown-ups in a way, not the typical teenager kind of vampire theme, but I loved vampires in general, and I think they're a lot of fun in this game. It's cool that you can stay undercover and still can be up to no good with your vampires if you want to. I really like that. It would be really cool though if you could simply ask for blood, or if you have a romance, which would be so typical for vampires that they would offer it, and in a romantic kind of way they could suck some blood. I don't know, this would be pretty cool. Here I'm adding some black rocks. I decided to go with black rocks as it just fits the vampire theme. As I said before, I wanted to work with contrast. So I used the bright bricks for the bridge, and here I'm adding black rocks all around to make it look natural and like a pond and not like a normal pool. I added two other pools because these ones are not accessible for your Sims. These are simply for decoration to make it look like a water castle, maybe even. I elevated them and stacked them so it would look like a column a little bit. At first I added the normal columns, but as you see I then removed them and just went with the rocks basically. Also added some flowers on the outside. Again, I used red and white to... I did not want to add too much color. I really wanted to stay in the white, gray, black and red theme, so the red would really pop, especially the flowers that I used on the outside. I also added some of the flowers for walls that came with the vampire pack itself to mix it up a little bit. The bridge that I'm adding the rock columns to is connecting the building on the outside that includes the gaming room and the media room to the barbecue area that you're going to see later. So your Sims can take an easy shortcut from the gaming room to the barbecue area if they want to. And I also think that a bridge like this goes really well with any kind of castle type build, especially a water castle. It's not a castle in the actual sense. It's more like a mansion that has kind of a castle feel to it, in my opinion. Here I'm adding more rocks to the outside. Also, I double and triple check that nothing is blocked. No path is blocked for your Sims. I used many rocks, but your Sim can use any room and can go everywhere. Nothing is blocked, so if you should worry about this because of the use of so many rocks, I rocked the Sim through the lot and checked multiple times, so all is good. Here I'm adding more flowers to the outside. Again, red and white to not use too many colors, so the red really pops. I really like that. I also think it looks more natural to use some small rocks on the outside instead of a small fence, for example. Here I could not really decide which floor I wanted to use at the top. I then decided to go with the black for the bridge, again for the contrast. I did not want it to be all beige or this sand color, so I have some contrast. Here I'm adding more flowers at the bottom of the wall. And I added some flowers at the top in front of the main building. I wanted to make it look more like a castle, and there is no actual garden area as in having lawn and maybe playground objects or stuff like this. So I thought that this would make it look a little bit more greener and more friendly. But I did not want it to be too friendly and pink and happy because it's a vampire build, so yeah, but I think you can't really go wrong with some red flowers. I think it looks badass. It looks cooler for a bit like this than pink in my opinion. Pink is cool, but I really love the contrast with the red. I decided to have a white kitchen. I used the one that came with the vampire pack. It looks really cool in my opinion. I really like how it all turned out. I think that there are two classic options. Of course, there are no boundaries to creativity. You can do and pull off whatever you want, which is what's so great about this game and being creative in general. But the two obvious choices for me for a build like this are black and white. White is the opposite of black and is often associated with the good and all that stuff, but it's not really a color and it's not colorful and not happy, and white can just be as sad and dark in a way as black, which sounds like a contradiction, but I really like this kind of stuff. I always said that if I would be a producer and would make a TV show with a witch, the witch would have a white cat. Which would be so cool. It's just another option, and it also looks a bit more modern in my opinion. Daffodil Dog can also be cool, but I wanted it to be Victorian and old and fit into the vampire theme, but also wanted to be a little bit fresh and exciting and modern, and I think that this works quite well here, especially with the rocks. I really, really love the rock that came with the pack. I am not really a fan of the other color choices, but this black and white one is really cool, and I also like this one because you can simply adjust the size. You can make it as long as you want. Of course, you can always upscale or downscale any kind of object, but here you can actually decide how long you want it to be and build your own rock. How cool is this? I decided to use a lot of red on the inside as well, so it would go with the red seam on the outside. This is basically the only little pop of color. There, I'm going to use some blue for the other bedroom. There are going to be two bedrooms that I'm starting to furnish here. But the blue is not really popping. It's a nice royal blue and very dark and toned down in a way. The build has three bathrooms, one at the top two at the top, sorry, next to the bedrooms, which always makes sense, and one is at the very bottom. There is going to be a gym and a spa area, as you will see later, and yeah, I really love this red flower, and I used the little candles that I think they came with the spa day. I'm not really sure right now. And I scaled them up and down, and I noticed that when you scale them down and move up with 9, you can freely place them on the table, and they don't snap, which is what I did here on the right and left, so I could add even more, and it looks better if they don't all snap. It looks more realistic and more random. I really like that. Yeah, this is the blue room that I was referring to, a little bit blue on the wall, because I didn't want it to be all gray and red on the inside. I want to put some love on the interior, and I thought that this would be cool. Here I randomly decided to change the columns because, as I said multiple times, I wanted to work out that contrast between dark and bright colors, light colors. And I felt it wasn't dark enough. The roofing is dark and the bridge is quite dark with all the rocks that I used on the outside, but the whole facade was too bright still, so I just changed it up a little bit and added some columns here and some decorations and some flowers. I did not want to use too many flowers on the house on the outside, so it would be too overpowering. This is the barbecue area. I used the windows that came with Get Together and simply sized them up. The problem is that when you watch them from the other side, the frame disappears. So I simply used two and combined them. So when you pan around with the camera, you don't see that they disappear. This way you can use windows like this to divide a room basically. I thought that it looks really cool. I used even darker colors on the barbecue area, the black fence, the huge dark windows, and yeah, I really like how it turned out. Here I'm adding the second staircase, which leads to the bottom. And here I'm adding a pool. I decided to add two pools for your Sims. So they have the option to swim on the outside and inside. Obviously, vampires spend most of the time on the inside, or at least they don't always have the option to go on the outside. So I build a huge pool on the inside, so your vampires always have access to a pool if they want. But I thought a small, nice pool on the outside would look lovely, and also you can use it at nighttime. And I think there is even some possibility for your vampires to not die in the sunlight. Some kind of reward. I don't even know. I played with vampires a few times, but I always wanted them to have trouble with the sunlight. I really like this. I was also like in TV shows with vampires. I never liked when they were able to just roam around in the sunlight. I think it's much cooler to have a classic vampire that is awake all night. I'm a night owl myself, so I can relate. If I would be a vampire suddenly, I think I could live with that. I mean, sometimes I probably would like to have some sunlight, but I think it would be really, really cool. I would enjoy that. Here I'm jumping back up. I added a second office. One is at the bottom, one at the top, because I wanted to fully furnish it, but still wanted to give you the option to simply decide what you want to do with it. You could also convert it to a kid's bedroom. I could leave it how it is. There are so many options. I really did not want to focus on kids too much in this build. First of all, there is no space on the outside for playground objects and all this kind of stuff. And for me, even though you can have a family with vampires in this game, I don't know, for me, my vampires mostly stayed alone or had a romance and then lived forever, but I never personally used them for a typical family situation. But there's so much space, and you can simply change one of the rooms to a kid's bedroom or do whatever you want. Or you have a guest bedroom if your vampire lives alone. Here I'm adding more rocks to the pond. This way it does not look like a normal pool. Also, your Sims should not be able to access it because I think it's really annoying when they swim in it, even though it's not a pool. And I mean, you have two pools for your Sims to swim, so there's no need to dive right into the outside water area. Here I'm furnishing the gaming room. I used the stuff that came with Get Together. Um, I threw in some of the vampire furniture, so it will still go with the theme. With builds like this, the big question is always what to put in all these rooms, because it's not nice to have a lot of empty rooms or spaces, and so I thought a gaming room would be a lot of fun. And at the bottom, as you will see now, I added the media room with a big TV and the gaming console and a sofa. I really love the idea to have the TV or the media room separately, so it's not in the main house, for the reason that it just, in a way, it takes away from the whole Victorian theme. So here you have it separated, but if you want to, you can of course also simply add a TV to the main living room area. Here I added some outside lights, and this area is the spa and pool area. The big room is going to be the pool hall, basically. This is what you could call it. And here I'm adding the gym and the spa area, which is really cool in my opinion. I really love the spa day pack. It's so cool for your Sims to have this opportunity. Also, it's another opportunity to create some other rooms, because in the beginning with the base game there wasn't all these options. I mean, you could build a gym, because as far as I recall there were some objects for gyms in the beginning, but all the spa stuff and all the stuff that came with Get Together for the gaming rooms that I used, all this stuff was missing still, so yeah, why not use it? Also, if you don't have all the packs, you can still download it, and the stuff will just be missing or replaced with base game content. And if you still like the house, you can simply add something. So if you don't have the spa day pack and the spa room is empty for you, you could still make a party room out of it or whatever you like, or leave it empty. Here I'm building the pool. I wanted it to have a unique shape and added some fences and columns at the edges, and also this little statue thingy, a nice little fairy, and some flowers. I added the flowers that of course usually would belong on the outside to create a little garden feeling on the inside, because your vampire usually won't be able to be outside all day. So it's a cool little option. Here you see me improvising some lounges. They are not part of the game, but I think they kind of belong to a nice pool area. So this is how I did it. And here I'm adding some windows. I also added some curtains because I thought that too much sunlight wouldn't be good for a vampire mansion. Yeah, so I think the pool area turned out quite cool. It's huge, but you could also have some pool parties here if you wanted to. And here I decided last minute that I wanted the roof to be black, so the roof would go well with the rocks and the columns. And yeah, I'm adding some rocks, just some last minute changes to make it look nice. And yeah, this is almost it again. Thank you for watching, and if you have any suggestions, if you want to tell me what you like or what I should do different, or if you just have any ideas, something that you would like to see, just leave me a comment and I will get back to you. And I also included some floor plans, as you will see now, so you have an overview. And yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.